Hello, my name is Pixel, and today on the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel we're going to be taking a look at the Outriders Demo running maxed out at a 1440p resolution on our Sapphire Nitro Plus RX 6800 XT graphics card alongside the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X CPU. Now before we get started, I want to give a little context to the performance that we're going to be seeing here. Currently, the game only officially supports DirectX 11, meaning that you can't switch to graphics API via the options menu. This meant that when I first recorded footage for this video, I did so in DirectX 11, and let's just say that it wasn't exactly a good time. Not only was there constant stuttering, but the game would regularly tank performance down below 60 FPS whilst in combat. This combined with the 30 FPS cutscenes and hitching honestly made the game feel borderline unplayable. At this point, I had pretty much decided that I wasn't going to cover the game on this channel, as the performance that we saw was really dictated by our graphics card. To be clear, this does not appear to be an issue with our CPU performance either, as the Ryzen 7 5800X is quite literally one of, if not the fastest gaming CPUs on the market, which leads me to believe that the performance that we see here is pretty much a best case scenario for these settings at this resolution. Thankfully though, a couple of days later, I found out that it was in fact possible to launch the game in DirectX 12 by simply adding a line to the launch options in the Steam client, so I decided to give it another go. And it's better. Don't get me wrong, it's still far from perfect, but performance is much more consistent, stuttering is massively reduced, and peak frame rates are also a little bit higher. Unfortunately, the game doesn't warm shaders, meaning that the first time that you load assets, the game is likely to stutter, but once they've been loaded once and cached, then things really start to smooth out. I'd say that whilst running the game in DirectX 12, we spent the vast majority of our time above the 100 FPS mark, with most dips still keeping us well above 90. The average was somewhere between, I'd say, around 110 and 130, and overall, due to playing the game on a variable refresh rate monitor, the game did feel pretty smooth. When it comes to the visuals, I have to admit that I can't make up my mind to whether or not they look good. That's not to say that the game's ugly, because that is certainly not the case, it's just, I never really found myself feeling impressed or being surprised by what I was seeing. It probably doesn't help that the developers force on some rather excessive motion blur, and that combined with the relatively fast-paced nature of the combat means that much of the finer detail ends up getting lost in post-processing. During actual combat, things can get very flashy, and with there being so much happening on screen at once, it can be very difficult to actually focus on any specific graphical effect or feature. I won't deny that the game actually had me questioning if I was simply getting too old, as I had some major trouble keeping track of enemies and seeing through the excessive use of effects. Whilst this never actually impacted my ability to play the game, meaning that it's not like these effects were getting me killed, they did impact my ability to play the game literally. After about an hour of gameplay, my head would be pounding, and this is something that I've only ever experienced like 2 or 3 times in all my years of gaming, and I've been gaming for a long time. There's a good chance that this game is not going to have this effect on yourselves, but I think it's certainly worth mentioning for those of you out there that suffer from stuff like motion sickness and or eye strain. Now, if you are wondering why I am running around like a headless chicken in a game that's supposed to be primarily a cover-based shooter, the answer is simply because I can. The game, or at least what we've got access to in the demo, is incredibly easy, and so ignoring cover seems to be a totally valid strategy and maybe even the best strategy. But anyway, I'm going to leave you with just a little bit more gameplay and sign off, so as always, please do remember to subscribe if you're not done already, and if you've got any questions, suggestions or feedback, then let me know in the comment section down below and I will try and get back to you. For now though, that's going to be me done for today, so until next time, I'll catch you later.
Hey, boss. We're barely holding on.
It sounds like I chose a good day to wake up then.
And so, Outrider, you've had your first kill. We Alter do not die so easily, do we?
Seth.
Come. We must speak.
They asked you to help them. To fight the Altar down there. Why didn't you?
That pathetic monstrosity was a distraction.
People are dying because of him. Without the supply route open...
They all die. These feeble creatures. Slaughtering each other over scraps. You waste your gifts.